So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take like less than 20 minutes to explain to you what it is that we do here. I'm doing this for a couple reasons today. Number one, we want to make sure people around the country understand how to present what we do, right? I need, and also I think part of that, when you're talking to people about what it is that we do, if you want to tell me something and I don't know anything about you, I'm not interested. Meaning, like, if, no matter what it is, if you just want to come and go, hey, Shawn, you should be, your first name, sir?
Alan.
Alan. So if Alan's telling me all this stuff, but I know nothing about Alan, that'll be weird to me. Because I have no background, no affirmation. I need to know who you are and see if I connect with you. So for me, I never thought I was going to get into life insurance sales. I mean, I went to college to play baseball. I didn't go to college to get a degree. Just so you know. Not that I'm not trying to be funny. I want to join the Marines. That's all I wanted to do. I graduated high school at 17. My mom, I took the ASVABs. How many of you served the country? Okay. Wow, with nobody today. Okay. Well, thanks for your service if you're watching somewhere. Okay. But that's all I ever wanted to do. Took my ASVABs, I was all excited. I'm like, I'm in. My mom said, you're not going to join the Marines. You're going to go to college. If you want to join the military after college, you can, but you're not joining the military now. I said, I am joining the military now. She said, you need my signature, and I'm not going to sign it. And also, I was afraid of my mom. Some of you might not be. My mom didn't put me in timeout. So I was afraid of my mom, even at 17. Okay? Very respectful. So I went to college. I went to college. I thought I'd be a business major. It sounded good. And I became a social work major. And the only reason I became a social work major is I was a business major for 1 week. And if you ever been, any of you go to college? Anybody take business courses in college? Anybody taught by people in business that actually never were in business before? Yeah, you were. Hey, if you went to college, you probably did. You probably sat down. No offense, but they probably tried to teach you. And I had questions. What kind of businesses have you ran? Have they been successful? Your biggest success, your biggest failure, how did that work out? Can you talk to me about what it was like? I need you to teach me so I don't make the mistakes. What have you gone through? And what I heard a lot of, they were very good academics. They had studied, they read books, they taught classes, but they had actually never been, like, I didn't want to be taught how to fight by somebody who hadn't been in a fight. So I switched to become a social work major purely because all the professors were actually working in the field, okay? When I graduated college, I was looking for a job. My buddy bet me that I wouldn't take the police exam. I had no desire to be a police officer. After I did that and went to the academy for about 5 months, they had no desire to have me either. So it was a very good match for both of us. I went and became a social worker. Okay, I worked with child abused, neglected children as a child protective services worker. I did that for 14 years in the state of Connecticut. My job was I'd get a call at 2 o'clock in the morning. The child was physically abused, sexually abused, horrific neglect, substance abuse, drug deal, whatever it was, I got called to do it. That's what I did 14 years. I loved my job. I did not quit my job to get rich. I was not making a lot of money, fine. I was taking care of my kids, cool. I did want to do better for my family, but I didn't quit being a social worker to get rich. I got a real estate license while I was a social worker because I wanted to make some additional income. Problem for me in real estate was I was always chasing people. They said to me, give me your sphere of influence. Any of you been in the real estate business? Give me your sphere of influence. Give me a list of all the people you know. And it's like, my people don't even have a house and they ain't buying a house. They said, what about your family? I said, my family's definitely not buying a house. So it was a really big struggle. I didn't like to chase people around. I didn't like to network that way. I didn't want to go to the Chamber of Commerce meetings. No offense. I didn't want to do that. I didn't think that wasn't a good return on my time, and I was very busy. But I had my real estate license, and in 2008, there was a gentleman named Jim, and he was selling a property, and I was trying to buy the property. The chief of police in the town owned it, and he couldn't get the tenants out. And I was like, wow, if the chief of police can't get them out, it's probably going to be a problem. But it was a very good price, so I was like, I can definitely get them out because I don't have to do the thing. The chief has to worry about certain laws. I don't have to worry about. So I'm like, I can get them out. I know that. And so I basically was buying the house. He said, you should get your insurance license. And I said, I'm not interested in getting my insurance license. I dismissed him 3 different times. And then the 4th time he asked me, I felt like if I didn't get my insurance license, he was not going to do this deal with me. And I was getting a really good deal, to be honest with you. So I went online and got my insurance license. I said, how much does it cost me? And he said, the class, we'll take care of the class for you. And I was like, cool. So I don't have to pay for that. So I'll go online, right, do that. And then I had to pay the state of Connecticut a couple $100. So I was like, well, I have really nothing to lose. I'll have a license and nobody can, I can't get hurt on it. It's $200. So I got my license and I still kept doing my jobs. I bought the house and one day he called me and said, are you going to start selling insurance? And I said, to whom? And he said, the leads. I said, you have leads. because he never told me that part. He said, yeah, we have leads. I said, let me see the leads. So he brought me the leads. Any of you seen the direct mail leads we have? Okay, so he brought me the leads, name, date of birth, signature on it, initials. I was like, I called them up in front of him and started booking appointments. He said, how'd you learn to do that? I go, to what, call people? They filled it out. I didn't have to learn to do anything. I called him and said, Alan, Shawn, Mortgage Protection Center, I got this thing you filled out. You remember doing it? Alan said yes, said no. I go, good, sounds good either way. I have to come out of the house to get the information. I got done, I said, dude, how many of the leads do you have? He said, as many as you want to buy. I said, dude, I'm totally in, okay? I did that part-time for 8 or 9 months, and then I left my state job, and I stopped selling real estate, and I went full-time in life insurance sales. I didn't go full-time thinking, oh my God, I can't wait to get uber rich. I went full-time because I wanted to I do like protecting families, I like being a social worker, and I did want to control my own time, and I did want to make whatever I wanted to make for my family. So the bottom line for me was I wanted to do that. I worked at a company for 5 years, and after 5 years, I thought my compensation was really low, so I didn't like my low compensation. I didn't like that I had a contract and they could tell me certain things to do. I didn't like that they charged me fees, charged me to be trained, they charged me to show up to meetings, they told me to buy books, they charged me for those. I didn't like that part. So I was like, I'm gonna quit and launch my own company. And I thought my own company, Bruce, was gonna be me. I didn't think we were gonna have thousands of agents. I just wanted to sell some life insurance, have nobody bother me. It's all I wanted. I found Americo. They're a great insurance company. I was excited. I said, y'all need to give me a contract. They said, okay. I got the contract, me and about 10 people, and that was December 2013. The things that we launched the company on then are the exact same things that we live on now. We were gonna pay the highest compensation. That wasn't complicated. We were gonna pay the highest. We said we're gonna pay 140% compensation on mortgage with Americo, and we did that. Now we have 145% compensation with Americo, Hancock, Amicable, Mutual of Omaha, sound about right? All four on the mortgage side. We go up to 144% with Aetna on the final expense side. So we have very high compensation. You should get paid high compensation. You know, I had a guy one day said, well, why are you worried about your comp? Comp's not important. I said, exactly, give me a raise. If it's not important, bro, just pay me more. It's so irrelevant, just pay me more. Why are you keeping so much of it? Our comp is find a higher comp. We know what our comp is. I wanted people to get renewals and be vested day one. We didn't want to have a contract that said you had to work with us for so many years before you were vested. What that means is if you work at some company that say you have to go 7 years, you're 5 years in, and you go, man, I don't want to work here anymore. I'm going to go do something completely. I'm going to leave the industry. I'm going to go to another company. If you do that, you give up all your renewals, which seems wrong because you did all the work. Here you're vested the day you start. So if Dominique worked with us for 4 years and decided he was going to become a painter and move to the southern tip of Spain because that's what he wants to do, because that's kind of, he's just excited, he gets to take his renewals with him. They're not ours. Okay, he earned them. The next thing was I wanted training to be really good. I wanted training. Anybody ever been trained by somebody that does not know what they're doing? Sat through a meeting, everybody. We may not have anybody served in this room, but sure as heck got a bunch of people that had to sit through that. The people that trained you sat there in front of you, looked in the eyes and told you what to do, and they've never done it. For me, I never wanted to be part of that. So our rule at Family First Life was if you're going to train, you are doing or have done exactly what you're training on at a high level. If not, you don't get to train based on seniority. You don't get to train because you've been here 8 years. Let's put Tom up. And you're like, dude, Tom, nobody wants to listen to Tom. He tells the same 4 stupid jokes. He doesn't know what he's doing. We know he's never actually gone out and helped any families. We were only going to allow people, and we were going to share. If you were good, Albert, you were going to share what you were doing. You were going to tell the truth. You weren't going to keep it to yourself because hundreds of millions of Americans, and the vast majority of them admit they need life insurance or more life insurance, so we were going to put people in a position to win. We were going to do that. So training was very important to us, and we weren't going to charge for it. We're going to give you as much training as you could get, and we're going to charge you a dime for it. Next thing was leads. We were going to give you the opportunity to get leads wherever you wanted. If you want to get leads from a certain company, you want it wherever you choose to get them, as long as they're compliant and they're not violating any kind of regulations of how you obtain them, we're totally fine with you getting leads wherever you want to. You don't have to buy them from this source or that source. We went ahead and negotiated deals with these companies to get you leads at a really good rate. I believe in my heart, and I can prove it to you, that if you don't have leads in the life insurance business, you don't have a business. You can only sell a policy to your aunt and uncle every so often. And it's 2022. In 1980, it might have been a good idea to walk around the mall and try to cultivate clients. Number one, today it's hard to find a mall that's open. Number two, you don't roll up on people like that nowadays. You don't. If I'm at the gas station and you approach me at the gas station, you better be careful. Because I'm not in that, I'm sorry. It's a different world. You need to have leads to survive in this business. You have to. You have no shot without leads. None. We have people all the time that work at a company that has no leads because they're just going to sell to their neighbor every once in a while. And I just don't see how you can get ahead doing that, okay? So we want to have a myriad of lead sources, internet, Facebook, direct mail. We also knew that direct mail would change over the course of time. And we knew the future was social media and internet. And the past was direct mail. Doesn't mean we still don't have them, and it's great. We're glad we have them, cool, and we'll ride out as long as we can. But they had to be cost prohibitive. We also have leads where you can buy for as little as, what do the instant leads cost you, Ben? $11. New leads, $11, they're yours. Boom. When I started, my leads were $85 a piece. So I'm just, it's tough. The math is very hard at that, especially when you start talking about low compensation. It's a bad mathematical equation. So we wanted to pay real high comp, get you low lead costs, everybody, get leads wherever you wanted to, get lead inventory, do all of that. We also wanted you to have the ability to build a business. What I mean by that is you shouldn't have to hire hundreds of thousands of people to go ahead and be productive for your family. We want to put you in a position where you could talk to people, you could recruit them, you could sign them up, you could work with them, and then you could build a business that would allow you to make some extra money and override, right? You make money by selling life insurance, by overriding with what you have coming in. We also, as a company, we pay bonuses every month. Family First Life pays the bonuses. So we say, here's how much money's come in, cool, we're growing, and we bonus it out. So when you hit a certain level, you get to a certain contract level as you grow, and your team helps so many families a month, then we go, here's extra money. Here you go. And you see what we pay. I mean, in a given month, the company itself will pay out $4 or $5 million in bonus money to the people that are building a business. So the carrier is going to pay. The carrier pays you. That's who you're direct. They pay you your money when you sell the policy. They pay you the override. We have the bonus. You can build a business. And the last thing for me that's really made this thing very different, and I'll explain to you what I think it takes or doesn't take to be successful here, is the opportunity with integrity. In 2019, what we did, Family First Life did, is we partnered with Integrity Marketing Group because we wanted to grow our company. We did not have the infrastructure to support. We have 18,000 agents that are helping a family on a given month. We didn't have an infrastructure to handle that. We started the company with 10 of us. And we grew so fast, we outgrew our infrastructure. So we partnered with Integrity, but what's also happened is allowed now at this point 22, 23 other people, and there's a lot more coming, from FFL, Family First Life, have been able to partner with Integrity, where they get to reap the benefits of their partnership, stock, all those things with Integrity, which is a conversation for a different day. Now, people say to me, how do you know who will be good at this? I don't. What I know is this. If you enjoy helping people, then you have a really good shot and you work hard. If you don't like helping people, you probably shouldn't do this. Because it is about helping people. If you go, I only care about making a dollar bill. Now, is it allow you to provide, is the money a phenomenal byproduct? Yes. Help as many families in a week as you want. How does it work? Well, if commission goes to 145% and you're at 100% commission, to use a very basic illustration, and the policy costs $1,000 a year, where it's mortgage protection or final expense, and then the carrier is going to go ahead and advance you $750. So they're going to hold back $250. So that's what you'd get paid on that one individual policy, right? You have your lead cost, you write your policies, you have to understand the business, 30% of that business statistically after a year is going to fall off the books, so you got to make sure you keep working. That's the way it works. We wish everybody kept their policies and didn't cancel, but there's a small percentage that do. So you take that number and you can go ahead and run as many appointments a week as you want. You can close as many as you want. That's completely up to you. What I don't know is if it'll work for you. What I do know, it's worked for me. It's been the best thing I've seen for me and my family as an industry, but I do like helping people. I do work really hard. I don't have a bad attitude. Like, I just don't. I don't whine and cry because I'm not 2 years old. So, like, I do believe in serving people. I do believe I won't be judged by you, and I won't judge you, but I will be judged, but not by you. So I'm totally cool with that. Clients aren't going to judge me. I'm not going to judge them. I'm much more worried about who's going to judge me than any human beings. So for me, it's been an unbelievable ride, and we want to keep doubling the amount of families that we help every single week, every single month, every single quarter, because that's what this is about. And I'll leave you with this. This was very much about me helping people and then I wanted to have a living for my family, right? That's what I wanted to do. And about 5 months into my business, I was out selling life insurance policies. I was trying to meet with 30 people a week. I met with all kinds of interesting people, which I liked a lot. I loved how different the people were. I thought it was funny at 9 o'clock in the morning they were drinking because they was retired. My very first policy I wrote, very first one. Y'all, I've been sober 21 years. My man was drinking Peel's Light. That is like battery acid, okay? He's on his porch at 9 o'clock in the morning smoking a Camel unfiltered, and he's got a Peel's Light in his hand. And he said to me, I don't think I'll be able to get that insurance. And I said, why is that? He said, I've been struck by lightning twice. And I said, what did you say? I said, you've been struck by lightning twice. I said, sir, his neighbor come over. He's here, the guy lives here. He comes over, he says, he been struck by lightning twice, he tell you? I go, yeah, things happen in threes. I'm figuring he's going to get struck again. I don't want to get hit by accident. I said, there's no question on the application that asks you've been struck by lightning. And I've read the application, so I think you're going to be good. That was my very first policy. Cost him about $100 a month, $1,200 in premium. And every single year, as my stuff renews, I look. And that man, he's still alive. And I'm like, dude, he had lightning is doing him good. Because he was like in his 60s. I've been my license 12 years. So he's 72 years old. It's on the books. He pays every month. And that was my indoctrination in the business. Where my business changed was I met with a guy and a lady. And when I got to her house, she opened the door. I handed her lead. Her name was Lisa. I remember it to this day. And she said, before you come in, I want you to tell me I have cancer. I have literally probably 90 days to live. I have pancreatic cancer. I've done everything I can do. There's no more treatment. We're now just here to hospice. There's nothing else I can do. 34 years old. And I said, ma'am, I don't want to lie to you. I can't. I can write you a policy, but you got to wait 2 years. If you die in the first year, it's going to give you your premium back. At this point in time in your life, you're better off just keeping your money. It's not going to make any difference. I don't want to mislead you. She's like, I really appreciate your honesty. Other people have been telling me they can get it, and they keep trying, and they can't get it, and they get what you just gave me, what would be a graded policy. I'm not interested in that. I'm not going to ever make it 2 years. Her husband comes around the corner. I didn't even know he's there. I didn't even ask. She was the only one on the form. I should have asked, but I couldn't help her anyway. And he's all upset. He's screaming, right? He's like, he got a vest. He cuts the sleeves off. You know when people have big arms, but they want to make sure you know they have big arms? It's like, dude, I already know you had big arms, sleeve or not. Or like they get a tattoo on this arm, and they cut the sleeve off this arm, and the other arm has a sleeve. It's like, okay, got it. Okay, like you could have just gotten it on your forehead. You wouldn't have to take the sleeve off your head. We could have seen the tattoo. And he's yelling at me, and big guy. And I said, man, is he always like this? And she's like, yeah, pretty much. But I also understood that she was dying. So, and they have 2 kids, young kids. So I could only imagine, Bruce, what they were going through. And he's kind of giving me some junk. She said she tried. He said, stop trying to get life insurance. Nobody's going to give you life insurance. Nobody's going to help us. Like, you can leave now. And I said, do you have life insurance? Oh, God, you would have thought I insulted his mom. You know, and he starts yelling at me again. And then his wife goes, I don't know, do you? He goes, I have some through work. I go, how much? He goes, I think $5,000. I go, well, and I just go, let's get you a policy, dude. Let's get you a policy. I'll get you taken care of. I start pulling everything out, and he's like, I'm not getting a policy. I was like, she wants you to get one. And I wouldn't even make eye contact. I'm like, she wants you to get one. So like, I don't know what to tell you. So I start telling him. I'm like, so you got your driver's license? He's mad. He's like, I'm not giving you my beeping driver's license. I was like, Lisa, and she was like, give me your driver's. So anyway, long story short, after a lot of theatrics, I get to the point where we do the policy. Then he says, I'm not going to pay today. And I want to give you my banking information. I'll pay when it comes in. I said, well, I'm not allowed to do that. Because I can never, ever feel good about myself if something happens to you from now until then. And if you do die, it's not going to cover you. So I can't do that. And she immediately looks at him and she's like, just give me your banking information. Like, enough. 2 days later, I walk in my office. My assistant, small town, he's 20 minutes from the office. She's crying. She's not a crier. So I was like, wonder why she's crying. She said, did you see the paper today? I said, no, I tend not to read the paper. There was a motorcycle accident on Route 12, and the client you just wrote 2 days ago, he died. He was driving to work. Deer came run out in front of him in Connecticut. He put the bike down, hit his head, and he died instantly. About an hour later, her brother calls me, and he's yelling at me on the phone. My sister thinks she's getting $250,000. Why would you do that? I'm like, first of all, stop yelling at me. Number one. Number two, I'm not talking to you about your sister and stuff that's going on because that would be personal. But number three, you're calling me from the bank. Don't you have an insurance license? That's exactly what I said. I won't be mean. Like, you have an insurance license. Long story short, he never called me back again, which is cool. She got her $250,000, and then she died a few months later. And the only thing the family had for life insurance, because his $5,000 actually didn't exist, was the $250,000. She had none. And those two kids and the people to raise those two kids, that's all we had. Does that make sense? So for me, that changed my life completely. So do I know? I don't know. You don't know who's going to die. I don't know who's going to die. We need more help. We have leads and inventory. You can look them up. Go in the CRM and check it out. You'll see them all. We need help all over the country. We have people that are doing this over the phone now and on Zoom. It's today's world, right? So you could be here helping families in Kansas. You can go do that. You can make as many appointments as you choose to. You can buy as many leads as you choose to. And I'm not going to promise anybody anything. What I do know is I will promise you, if your attitude's no good and you don't work hard, you won't be any good. So you shouldn't do it. If you go like, I don't really care about people, I just want to make money. You shouldn't do it. Is the byproduct pretty amazing? Yeah, you can talk to any one of these guys individually and girls individually and see how it's worked for them. And for me, I just want to see people be able to change their lives. And I do want to protect people. So if that sounds like it makes sense to you, it'll probably make sense. And I was a big what's the worst case scenario kind of person. And if it was like we pay for your class, so if you're not licensed and you get in a class, we pay for it. You have to pay the state fees. Every state's different, but I think it's a couple $100, give or take. Check with your state. Once you have that done, then you got to buy leads. Outside of that, you don't have to do anything but go to work. So it's been a blessing for me, for my family. I'm also I want to have time. And I do not want to ask for time off. That might sound weird to some of you, but it's not weird to me. If I want to go to my son's game, I go. If I go to my daughter's dance recital or pageant, I go. If I go to the bathroom, I don't want to ask anybody. I go. If I want to leave early today, I leave early today. That's how I wanted to live my life. So the state deal was a lot of other things, plus I wanted to live my life. And when I started saying, my son has a game this day and this day, like put in your request for time off, thinking, bro, I work 100 hours a week for you guys. I get paid for 40. Don't tell me to ask for my time off. But I realized that was the world I lived in. So I chose not to live in that world anymore. So that makes sense, certainly. You know, I'd be more than happy after we do the other thing to answer any questions you got. But as far as our business goes and an overview of it, those are the things you need to understand. The way we pay our compensation, which is very, very high, and it's high as I've seen. And the last thing I'll say is we have no contract. So that's important because there's a lot of folks, see, I worked in a company where there was a contract. I'm an independent contractor under contract. Hey, say that 3 times fast. Independent contractor under contract. You're an independent contractor. Matter of fact, they wanted me to sign an independent contractor agreement. That's not an oxymoron, right? Independent contractor agreement. We don't put you under contract. Your contract's with the carrier. You got to write good business, do what you got to do with them. They're going to pay you. If you owe any money, you're going to pay them. That's between y'all. We're going to facilitate everything else and do the best we can to help you and act as an IMO and do what we're supposed to do as an intermediary, but you're not under contract with us. You can come and go as you please, go work wherever you want to. This idea that we're going to try to hold people captive or not let them work somewhere else or bully them around, that seems weird. And when people say stuff like, you know, that person's poaching my agents. Well, let me be clear. I wasn't anybody's agent when I worked at the other company, and I've never had anybody who's my agent. There's no upline, there's no downline. That's weird. Guy said to me one day, well, I need you to call the leads because I'm your upline. I said, Jim, you say upline one more time. And I mean one more time. You're never going to say it again to me. You're not my upline. I'm not your downline. You're not above me. I'm not below you. I'm not above anybody else, and they're not below me. We're a bunch of human beings working hard to help other people out. A bunch of imperfect people helping imperfect people. So if that makes sense to you, we'll get you all the information you need. But in a nutshell, it's who we are, what we do. It's a basic breakdown of everything you need to know. And I've seen people from all kinds of backgrounds do it. I've seen people not do it. You know, my background was real estate and social work. You know, Paul's was he pumped septic tanks. You know what I mean? Dominique's was he had no job. He played baseball in college, and then boom, I said, hey, you think you can make it to a meeting next week? He said, let me check my schedule. I have no job. I can make it to a meeting anytime you want me to. I'm available, he said, Monday through Friday, every day. I was like, all day, every day. I was like, I kind of like that. It'd be easy to work with you because you're always available. Like, it's his first job. So, and we all have our own backgrounds and stories and history, and maybe some people have been in life insurance for a while. Great, that's awesome. But for me, the satisfaction, now that one death claim's turned into many. That's the way it works. I had a guy yesterday, I coached him. He now is an agent with us, Ethan McKinney, sent me a picture of a policy. He went to meet with a client I wrote 14 years ago. And she's getting another policy on top of the one I wrote her. Yeah, he's like, still in the books. I said, of course it's still in the books, bro. What do you think? I run a business. I was laughing with it, but it was great. But it's been very rewarding, very good to me. The byproduct's been great. It's been very good to take care of my family and have the time. So I appreciate your time, and I hope that makes sense.